we're going to do a small recap of the DevCon 5 that happened in Japan, the Ethereum conference. So who I am, quick intro. You all know me, so that's going to be fast. You can find me on Twitter. I'm Kate. I'm one of the builders of Ethereum France, the FCC conference. We hope to see you all in March in Paris. I also work for Coinos and AAVE, decentralized lending protocol, and a few other things. So the yearly Ethereum gathering, more than 3,000 attendees this year. We don't have the real figures, but at least that. It was the 5th edition, so after London, Berlin, Shanghai, Cancun, and Prague. And now you are saying, oh, that makes 6, because it's a developer conference, so obviously we start counting at 0. Before all, it's a social event, so it's obviously a developer conference. The name is DevCon for developers, but we also have keynotes and high-level non-technical talks. So it's a good mix between technical focus workshops and like more accessible presentation for everyone. And it's an opportunity to meet the ecosystem main actors and meet VCs and things like that. It's also a good opportunity to get some swag. Like every year, you fill your closet of t-shirts that you will never wear, and your girlfriend will just boo at you and tell you to trash everything out. But it's cool. And the best swag this year, I'm wearing it, but I have a shot. It's behind me. It was MakerDAO. They did some very cool t-shirts and hoodies. And there's also the Doge. That was like the real star of the event. So this is the actual Kabo-chan, the Shiba Inu that was the model for the Dogecoin meme. And we all meet her because Doge is a girl. We learned that there. And what I can say about this DevCon is this is the conference of the maturity about Ethereum. This is like the 6th edition, like number 5, but the 6th edition. So there's no wow effect anymore. We probably, most of the things have been built. We know where we are getting, and it's more about updates of what have been done last year and what we will working on next year. So more and more stuff, and there's a lot of developers working on Ethereum. So officially 200,000 recorded, and Consensus is launching a big initiative for 1 million developers with grants and things like that. So let's see how that's turned out.
Do you know how the 200,000 developers were counted? Because that's a big question I'm asking.
Basically, they parse GitHub repos, and when they find Solidities, when they find Ethereum, when they find DApp, they count you as a developer. So I'm one of them. Obviously, I'm not a very good developer, but I'm probably counted as an Ethereum developer as I built a few things on top of Ethereum. There's no good way to count the number of developers, but obviously a shitload. The top and flops of the DevCon. So we're going to start with the tops. As I say, MakerDAO is the new stars of the ecosystem. Usually, this spotlight belong to Consensus, but what we are witnessing is the Swift since a few DevCon in the spotlight. So basically, DevCon 3 at Cancun was like a consensus event. Prague was like 50-50, and right now the spotlight is deserved by MakerDAO. So they reached like the top of the ecosystem. Their biggest announcement on main stage by Boone, their CEO, is the MCD, the multi-collateral DAI. So you will be able to generate and mint the DAI stablecoin pegged to the dollar from other assets than ETH. So you will have other ERC20s, and it's on the 18th of November. And they also shared during the keynotes and a few talks their roadmap on the next steps. So the next step is working on under-collateralized loans, because right now DeFi is always based on over-collateralized loans. So you bring more assets as a deposit than what you borrow. And they are working on AAVE to, in a decentralized way and in a secure way, to allow users to have under-collateralized loans. Obviously, that's a lot of discussion among the ecosystem because many believe that's not a very good idea, but that's on the way. And also synthetic assets to bring physical assets into the Ethereum blockchain. And that's also something that sparks some drama within the ecosystem, because if you have a physical asset like a house or something like that, that means that those assets can be seized by a central authority. So if you have a house on the blockchain and you use it as a collateral for a loan, but the government sees your house, what happens?
Yeah, if it burns down
or if it burns down or things like that. So what happens? So MakerDAO is an actor that I will call risk adverse. So we cannot expect them to YOLO that the way into this. But they want to work on this. It will probably take some time, probably not something in the next 6 months, but when they want to do things, usually they do it. So let's see what happens in the next few months or years. Another top and one of the best discovery of the DevCon is Monolith. Monolith is a rebrand of the token card project that did an ICO in 2017. And it's not another crypto debit card like Chapo, Coinbase, or Wirex, or whatever the thing. It's a bit more serious because they are onboarding inside the FCA sandbox. So they are British, they are London-based, and they are heavily regulated. They are a partner of Visa, and we can expect from them that they will not reproduce the Wavecrest event that killed like AAVE cards in 2017 and several other cards like that. So pretty cool, non-custodian, everything is inside the smart contract that you have the control of, and you lose control of your asset when you actually spend them. So pretty cool. And their app is very good, the UX is great, so a good discovery. AAVE, obviously, is a decentralized lending protocol on top of Ethereum. So if you know about compound finance, you probably understand 99% about AAVE. About the innovation is that the code of AAVE protocol is completely open source. That means you can access the code and the code is not copyrighted. That's not the case of the other actor of the industry. It's obviously non-custodians, it's DeFi and not CeFi, not centralized finance. And they introduce a new concept called flash loans that allow you to borrow some assets without providing any collateral in the context of a single transaction. So to explain that clearly, what is really important in DeFi ecosystem and decentralized finance is to be able to liquidate position bad debt. And with flash loan, you can borrow asset to liquidate the debt, take the deposit from the person that has been liquidated, sell the deposit for the borrowed asset, and pay back the protocol in a single transaction. So that's pretty heavy, and some people will make bots to do that and make the whole DeFi ecosystem more resilient to market events. And they also introduced the stable and variable rates. So currently, DeFi protocols, the borrowing or supply rates are defined by supply and demand. So at each block, there's a check within the pool to define the market condition and the loan condition, and that can move pretty easily from 0.5, the first CDP on MakerDAO at the end of 2018 to 22, 24-ish %. And that's not a situation people want as a borrower, but also as a supplier, because you have no clear vision of your return on investment. So with the stable rates, you, as a borrower, you often ready to pay a small premium, but to have the insurance that you know what you will pay now and in a few weeks or in a few months. So that's also a new feature. Uniswap, the more used decentralized exchange of Ethereum, launched a new product called UniPig. So it's not unicorns anymore, it's piggies. Why not? It's a collaboration with the Plasma Group, the expert of layer 2 on top of Ethereum. And basically it's Uniswap on the second layer. They introduced a demo on DevCon that worked perfectly. 200 transactions per second, near zero fee, and it's working quite cool. And the production-ready version will be available in a few weeks. One of the best innovations of DevCon also was MetaMask Snaps. So it's a system and a framework of plugins for dApps. So if you want to build a website, an application that interact with the Ethereum blockchain, right now you have pop-ups of MetaMask, you have to have an account. It's pretty hard. You have to sign things, you have to do transaction to allow the contract to interact with you, things like that. And the UX, the user experience, is pretty terrible right now in Ethereum. Snaps allow you to configure with your user a more smooth and seamless experience. So it's pretty interesting. It was very well reserved, acclaimed by the audience at DevCon, and people are currently working on it to integrate this kind of stuff in the dApps ecosystem. Last top and discovery of the DevCon, Unlock Protocol. It's a system of locks to lock access and allow access to content with the Ethereum ecosystem, with dApps. It's a way to create business models for content creator, like publisher, articles, newsletter, whatever, or also subscription, so basically a subscription at the blog or a ticket at an event. They use NFT technology, and we're gonna use it at the XCC in March 2020 to handle the ticketing system for the event. And also, what is a conference without a few flops? So the biggest flop and the biggest bummer was the Beacon chain, the phase 0 of Ethereum 2, the scalability upgrade of Ethereum, is obviously late. So Ethereum always is never able to respect deadlines, and they prove it like several times along the process. It was one very expected event of the conference, the launch of the smart contract where you can deposit 32 ETH and start staking on the proof of stake. We didn't saw that, so they canceled it out. Everything is ready on paper, the smart contract, the OD, the formal verification, but they are saying that a few libraries are not ready for inter-chain compatibility. So as always, they do over-engineering and under-delivering. So that was the biggest flop of the conference. Open Libra. So they tried to fork the Facebook Libra blockchain to do an open source whatever stuff. And they did that the day before the withdrawal of Visa, MasterCard, PayPal, and all the partners. So basically they announced something as a fork or something that is dying. So I was like, and all the audience was like, this is an Ethereum conference, we don't care about Libra, so why you put that on main stage? And the biggest flop was Roger Ver, Bitcoin Cash at the event. So Ethereum and the Ethereum Foundation really wants to be inclusive, to be, okay, we can talk with all the blockchain or whatever, but Bitcoin Cash. And so they invited Roger Ver. He was here like one day, didn't prepare any slides, and just did some kind of interview slash ask me anything session. It was the main stage also. The room was almost empty, and Roger Ver just spent 30-ish minutes blah-blah-bling about personal financial freedom, it's a revolution, fiat is shit, or things like that. So really intrigued, without any interest. And the next edition, according to what we heard from the Ethereum Foundation, it will be probably in Europe, but there's a huge lobby for South America and especially Argentina. So Buenos Aires have a lot of fans, and the Ethereum Foundation is known to be influenceable about the location. So if the lobby grow bigger and bigger, that might be an option. And the next big meeting we will be a bit more technical focus, will be in Paris in March 2020 for the RCC. Thank you for your time, and that's it. Any questions?
Why in Buenos Aires?
Because Argentina, hyperinflation, many Ethereum developer and projects, and they love crypto. So they love both Bitcoin and Ethereum, and everybody wants to be there.
When proof of stake?
Soon, 2 weeks.
6 months.
2 weeks.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so everything is ready on paper. It's exactly the same thing that when in 2018 E-Wasm was ready. We are still expecting that.
But the Bitcoin chain is not part of Ethereum 2.0, right? It's before.
Yeah, exactly. It's phase 0. So basically the Bitcoin chain, it's just you put 32 Ether in a smart contract, you lock them, and you swap them for E2, but you cannot do anything with it. There's no state, there's no EVM there, there's no execution. So it's the base layer of E2, but it's not a scalability upgrade at all. Maybe a supply reduction update, because...
Okay, so you can mint Ethereum 2.0 with that.
Yeah.
So that means from this point, it's like the fork kind of exists, because you're going to mint new coins on Ethereum 2.0 but not 1.0.
Mm-hmm.
But you still have the same Ether on both chains, like if it's a split fork, or is it
No,
like
no.
a restart from zero? There is no Ether on Ethereum 2.0, and
Yes and no. So it's a bit complex, like...
you're going to do some pre-mine bullshit again?
No. So basically each one will be... It's not true to say that, and I don't want to be recorded saying that, because I will be like... But each one will be part of E2. It will be one of the shards, like a proof of work shard. So it's not a real fork, it's an upgrade.
Okay, I'm confused.
So basically the EVM right now, it's one thread. So the EVM is executing one thing at a time. What is implementing in a very high level is not like that, but at a very high level E2, it's implementing the multi-thread. So by the concept of shards, you will have 1024 shards or 64, depending of the implementation. You will have like 1024 different blockchains running the EVM at the same
But that's
time.
supposed to be fungible, and like
Yeah, there's cross-shard compatibility.
okay, so they are seen as like different coins.
Yeah, so
Oh.
basically you have a wallet
Oh.
in every chart, and yeah, it's like having like 1024. It's kind of complex.
Okay,
Maybe I
I
will
didn't
do a
know that.
meetup,
Okay.
especially on that.
Okay.
But they can be like communication between the shards, because obviously if your dApp is on shard 3 and your wallet is on shard 125, well, you have to communicate because it's not the same blockchain. So in order to do that, there's a lot of stuff, but it's a bit complex for right now. It was one of the main topics of the conference, but a bit tough for a small, relaxed recap.
When will it be 2.0?
2.2.
3.1.
Well, there's an Ethereum 3, but it's more a joke than an actual project right now. It will be all implementing all the quantum resistance, whatever, but it's nothing in the next 5 years.
Is there gonna be a Ethereum Classic 2.0?
From my understanding, there will be quite a lot of time. They are saying months, but it will be years because we know how Ethereum works. That you will have some money on phase 1. I'm talking about phase 1, not phase 0, because phase 0 is just a lock. That the ETH1 will be perfectly functioning, and the ETH2 will start to function as a full-fledged blockchain. So some people will choose to remain on ETH1 for whatever reason, because they believe in proof of work, because they don't like the proof of stake or the cross shard, whatever things, or they just don't want to upgrade because they have an ecosystem there and they don't want to lose their users and things like that. So I don't think there's going to be a new Ethereum Classic, but I think ETH1 will be the de facto Ethereum Classic.
Okay, yeah, my question was more in the sense that, do you think Ethereum Classic is going to add sharding?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, Ethereum Classic several times said we are proof of work only, we are ASIC friendly, and I don't believe they're gonna upgrade to proof of stake anytime soon. But I wonder if ETC, like the current Ethereum Classic, is still useful in a system where you have ETH2 proof of stake based with fancy feature, and ETH1, which is proof of work based and not very on the focus of the Ethereum Foundation. I mean,
I don't really know the point of the sharding. Like, I understand it's a scaling thing, but
well,
I'm not even sure it actually helps on scaling, because you add so much more complexity to communicate from one chain to other that I'm not even convinced it's helping.
well, look at your computer. Like the more simple explanation, like, because it's a very hard topic and it deserves its own meetup. But look at your computer. There's a CPU in it, and all CPUs in our computers right now have several cores, several threads, just working. It's the same logic. Switch from a single to a multi-thread model.
Mm. But they are sharing actual memory.
Yeah.
So it's different.
Well.
Okay. Cool. That's it.
Thank you for your time.